Okay, I'm gonna give you a choice, chat. We can watch one of two videos, okay? We can either watch this video. It begins like this. Or we can watch this video, which begins like this. Which one would you prefer to start with? You know what? I'll just watch, I'll watch this one because it's shorter. Let's just see.
Closed beta impression so far. This is the new MMO by Amazon. I've played about 25 or 30 hours. I've done some dungeons, I've done some PvE, I've done some PvP, so I have a pretty good idea how this game's going to play. I'm obviously not at end game yet, so I don't have a good sense on that. But for the most part, I have a general idea of how the game is. People have been asking me, what's the game play like? What do I like about it? What I don't like about it? Is it better than other MMOs out there? So in this video, I'm going to try and answer those questions as best as I can. Okay, so first up, what's the game play like? To me, the game plays sort of like a combination of maybe something like the Elder Scrolls Online and a combination of Albion Online. In Albion Online, you don't really have a class, which is the way New
What's he
World
saying?
is.
Albion Online? What? What's he saying? Albion Online. What the hell is Albion Online? I know it's a football club, right? This. No idea what the shit this is. Looks cool though. Looks cool. Okay, right, cool. Never played that game. That's fine.
You simply have weapons that you can choose or the armor that you choose, and that sort of dictates your playstyle. You also have attribute points in New World that, you know, strength, constitution, dexterity. So you're going to make your build from putting your points into your attributes, the weapons you select, and the skills you select with those weapons, along with the armor that you get that has, you know, bonuses and stat bonuses on it. So that's going to comprise your build.
I like all that stuff.
You can swap these around. You can respec, so you can play around with different builds, not unlike Albion Online. The reason I make the comparison to Elder Scrolls Online as well as Albion Online is because I feel like maybe the combat is most similar to that in terms of the way you fight. Or maybe something like BDO. You don't have a lock-on system. There's no tab targeting. Everything is manually aimed, including ranged attacks. So it's not exactly like that. But combat plays a little bit more towards that side of MMOs than maybe some other ones like WoW or Final Fantasy or something like this. Another big emphasis to the game is crafting. The crafting system is extremely in-depth, and there's a lot of things you can do with it. You spend a lot of time gathering.
Okay, so what do we think about the combat? I mean, for me, for me, that combat style is fine. That doesn't seem too bad because I know like what I'm getting into. I don't feel like... I feel like it's limiting though if you're gonna do like some big boss fight or something. So if you're doing like a raid and you're kind of there and you're kind of just clicking for like quicker like attacks and stuff, like just you're like go, you're just like trying to hit the thing and blah blah blah. It kind of just feels like you're just kind of AFK, just like slashing at a thing, right? For me, that's how that kind of combat feels. It just feels like you're basically AFK because you're just kind of like clicking at the thing. But yeah, there are skills, there are abilities. Okay, but yeah, the combat, maybe that's one thing that I'm not super big on, but maybe it is actually okay. Maybe if I tried it, you know.
Crafting, almost like a survival game without survival elements. There's so much crafting in this game. And that reminds me a lot of Albion Online. Crafting is such a huge part
the
of
rating isn't that big a deal.
To
Yeah,
do with the loot in the game. So you're going to see similarities here between those games.
I just want to say as well, I really like the UI. I really like the UI of like the crafting and stuff. Just like the design of it looks really nice.
What I like about the game, first up, is visuals. The game is visually stunning for an MMO. The graphics are really strong, and in some ways, it reminds me of what the Elder Scrolls Online looked like, you know, or at least what I remember it looking like when it came out.
It's nice running around and seeing people in a bunch of different armor and a bunch of different styles, you know? Like, that's really cool. I do like that. Yeah, it won't have the depth of WoW and Final Fantasy combat, but it works. Yeah. It doesn't necessarily need to be the main feature, right? Because an MMO is more so, like, it doesn't need to have... I don't know, like, I do want combat that feels good, right? Because the way that I play my character is the way in which I view everything in the world. It's the way in which I interact with everything. So, like, the thing that I think will be weird for me with combat is it one of those things where, like, you run, and you'll be running, and then you, like, slow down to hit something, and your character, like, does this thing where it will... Is it one of those where it will do this, right? Where you'll like run over and then you like slow down and then you'll start hitting. Is it like that? Like run over and you're like, whoa, and then, or can you just like run it? Can you just like run over and be like, get? Do you have to like slow down before you can then start fighting? If you get it, I'll play some tonight. Okay, that sounds like a plan. If I know that I can like refund it as well, that's kind of cool, because it's just a beta. Like, I'm not going to pay to pre-order a game if I have no idea if I like it or not. However, I will pre-order to get the beta access, and then I can always refund it. Yeah, I morally I'm okay with that, because I don't think pre-ordering games should be a thing anyway, because how do you know that the game's like, they have to prove that the game's going to be okay, you know? But yeah. Ooh, a lot of running, huh? Okay, anyway.
The graphics on Elder Scrolls Online when it came out were really, really strong. They've since dated. But this game has really strong graphic visual appeal and style for it.
Yeah, Sentiax, I don't know, like, see, that's the thing, right? Like, you're pre-ordering a game that isn't going to be released for another 21 years, and you've still put a pre-order on that game, right? And, oh, yeah, sorry. You're putting a pre-order on that game that's not going to come out for another 21 years. How do you know it's going to be good? They might take your money and then not even see the game through, right? So I wouldn't pre-order Battlefield 2042, because that's 21 years away. That's crazy.
Remember it looking like when it came out. The graphics on Elder Scrolls Online when it came out were really, really strong. They've since dated. But this game has really strong graphic visual appeal and style for an MMO. The sound design is also very good. The music is relaxing, and the crafting, again, is one of the strongest parts of the game.
I love how he's like, you know, and the crafting's really good, and like the graphics are good, and like the, you know, this is good, and like the crafting is really good. Loves it. Loves it.
If you are a player who loves to craft, an All Beyond player or an Elder Scrolls Online player, or maybe even...
So let's look at this UI. So like he's got like the different items that he can make, and then you can see what materials you have. Okay, tells you just where you're at, your level, chance to craft additional items, requirements. Yeah, cool. Looks like it's a nice UI. That's a nice UI. Yeah, I like that. Only thing keeping me away from doing so is the fact that my dad still doesn't have an Xbox Series X yet. What a loser. Your dad's a loser, dude. He doesn't have an Xbox Series X yet? Oh, what a... Won't be able to do crossplay with him? Why would you want to? Imagine not having an Xbox Series X. What a nerd. Yeah, intuitive and smooth. Played the beta. Yeah, this looks nice.
Other MMOs, and you love crafting. That is such a huge part of this game. You should really like that in this as well. I like the general concept of the PvP in the game as an idea. The fact that you have open world PvP, meaning you can flag up and run around in PvP, not unlike All Beyond. Except instead of having regions where you can PvP, it's, you know, you can flag up anywhere and go anywhere, basically, and do it. And also these large scale battles are really interesting as a concept. I'm not sure how it came.
Like, imagine you see this dude and you go and start kicking his ass. Like, this guy's having a rough day, dude.
Came off in execution, but in terms of concept, I like the idea a lot. The small amount of dungeons I've done so far have been kind of fun. They're not overly involved so far. I would imagine they're going to get more and more complicated in terms of mechanics as I get deeper into the dungeons, so I haven't done them all or anything like that. But it sort of reminds me of what I was hoping Dark Alliance would play like. It's very hack and slashy, but there is tank healer DPS rolls. And it's, you get... See,
like, this is the combat. I don't like this. Like, look, watch this. It just looks clunky as hell.
Reminds me of what...
Like, what? They're all just, like, in each... Like, if I'm hitting a mob, I want to stand there and hit the mob, right? If I'm, like, swinging and I just, like, am hitting my own party members, that, for me, is just, like... I could just spin around, like, whoa, you know? Like, watch what happens right here.
What I was hoping Dark Alliance would play like.
Like, these guys all start just...
But there is tank healer DPS rolls.
Ready right now.
And
they all just start smacking each other, right? Like, it's just like...
chests and, you know, it's more of what you would expect from an MMO than Dark Alliance. But it almost is what I would expect Dark Alliance, the new Dark Alliance game, to play like. Moving along to the things I don't like.
They're all weapon chests. So if the dungeon, I would want dungeons to be pretty good. Like for me, when I think back to playing like my first MMO experience, which was World of Warcraft, and getting into my first dungeon and going through something like the Dead Mines, oh my goodness, or a Ragefire Chasm. They do feel, I want them to feel like a step up, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to chase just that feeling of World of Warcraft. But yeah, I would want like the dungeons to feel different than just like I'm out, like I'm just in a cave, right? I want a dungeon to feel unique.
I would say that the questing is extremely repetitive in some cases. Like you have a lot of the same sort of quests. A lot of quests are just grab quests from a board, go out, harvest some resource, come back, or kill some enemies, come back. And so you just do this over and over and over, and you start to, or go collect some stuff from chests. And you start to see these all over the map. It's almost like there's like 10 or 15 quests that are just repeated maybe, 50 times or so. Another complaint of mine is the enemy variety. It does get better and more variety as you get further and further into the zones. But I feel as a whole, they could have done a lot more with the enemy variety in the game. And there also is like a huge problem with the way questing works in enemies. Like some enemies, everyone has to kill for their quest, and there's just tons of people waiting around them. This is a problem that's existed since time immemorial in MMOs. And another thing that really makes this problem worse is the fact that there's a lot of quests where you have to kill animals.
It looks beautiful. This looks beautiful though, right? Like this world does look really fantastic. Is this Unreal Engine? Is this Unreal Engine, right? Or wait, no, doesn't like Amazon have their own engine or something for it?
Well, only one player can skin that animal. So if 10 people kill it and you need to skin 3 of them, then you have to fight all those 10 people to skin 3 animals. So even if you kill it, they can run over and skin it. So this can be a problem and really frustrating for some of those quests. Talking about the story narrative, it's kind of weak. Admittedly, I've been skipping through a lot of dialogue because I've been trying.
Yeah, I mean, okay. I don't mind. So the questing experience, I mean, I don't know really what I expect from questing these days. Like, I'd love for questing to be just a phenomenal, like, fantastic experience, really exciting and draws you in, and I do actually get that with Final Fantasy. Yeah, the questing in this game, I mean, if it ends up being similar to like Final Fantasy, if there's like a good narrative, then I think the questing will be fine. Even if it's go kill 10 boars, if the boars have some kind of relevance, then I don't mind doing it. But if it's just kind of like go kill them because like why not, then if there's no overarching story, if there's nothing pulling it all together, and you're kind of just going from hub to hub, and every hub is just completely just has no impact on the story. I don't know if there even is a story. But even if each hub is like, hey, we're in this hub and there's something important going on for us, then that's fine. I don't mind separate stories as long as there is something going on tying all the questing together, then yeah.
Trying to
anyway
level pretty quickly. So I haven't been focusing on it as much as you probably would. But there is, not a huge story to this game. If you're somebody who like really loves narratives, you're probably not going to find it in New World. Another issue I have with the game
is... so not big on story narratives. Okay, that's not a make or break for me, but if the questing isn't interesting and also the story isn't interesting, there's no narrative, then I'm kind of thinking, what's the point?
Combat. I like the combat for the most part, but it's rather simplistic. I find myself light attacking and heavy attacking and a lot more than you probably would in any other MMO you've ever played. It's almost akin, I hate to use this comparison, but to a Souls game in some regards, because you spend a lot of time like dodging, blocking, and attacking rather than using your abilities, because you only have 3 abilities, and sometimes they're very situational. Like one might be a stun. Well, if you're fighting one enemy, you might not need to stun it. Another one's a gap closer. Well, you don't need to use a gap closer if you're right on top of the enemy. So you find yourself like block, attack, which is fine, but when you have to wade through...
I'm worried about watching a video. Like, I'm worried about listening to the opinion of a guy who fights like this, though, right?
Rather than using your abilities, because you only have 3 abilities. And sometimes they're very situational. Like, one might be a stun. Well, if you're fighting one enemy, you might not need to stun it.
Look at the mob's health. Like, dude, there's a ramp on your left, man. Like, I'm a little bit worried about trusting the opinion of... This guy's talking about the issues of combat in the game right now.
Gap closer. Well, you don't need to use a gap closer if you're right on top of it.
Literally, he can see the ramp. He backs up and then goes, you know what? I'm going to run into it again.
So you find yourself, like, block, attack, which is fine, but when you have...
Nah, I'm just making fun. I'm just messing.
to wade through like 30 enemies in a row to get to the elite enemy to kill for a quest, and you're fighting them all pseudo-soul style, it takes a really long time just to get to that one enemy. So I do wish there was more skill variety or ability variety for the players. I'm hoping this is something they can add over time with feedback, but it could be a little bit better. Probably the last question I get asked is, is this game a WoW killer? Is it better than Final Fantasy XIV? Is it better than Elder Scrolls Online? And will this game have legs? Will it carry itself? Is it going to last? And I think the answer to this right now is that this game, New World, is not better than most modern MMOs out there at the moment. It's probably not a fair comparison. You're taking a game in beta. Admittedly, it's...
Yeah, you can't really take a game that's in beta and then compare it to like 14 years of content and be like, oh, this game is like, wow, this game is gonna kill WoW, dude. The only thing that's gonna kill World of Warcraft, and this was said 6 years ago, the only thing that's gonna kill World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft, dude. Like, and you were seeing that right now. You can't take a game that's got like Final Fantasy that's got 10 years of content or whatever and then go like, hey, why does this game in beta not have the same amount of content? It's like, well, because like they've added expansion after expansion after expansion. Like, there's just more content. You can't really compare that to a beta. But if the systems are good, then over time you can invest in having that content. But if the systems aren't good, then
got a month left,
chance.
so it's probably going to be live release here in a month, similar to what we played during the beta, maybe with less bugs and server issues, hopefully. But it's probably unfair to compare a game that just launched to games that have had 7 to 10 to 15 years of patches and content updates. And I would say that it's not as good as those games. Hands down, those games have had way more time to develop their systems and improve on their systems. So no, it is not as good as those games. That said, Elder Scrolls Online was a disaster when it launched. Final Fantasy XIV was not particularly successful when it launched.
Yep.
Those games have made revivals over time and gotten better and better, and I fully expect New World to do the same. In my opinion, New World is at a better place at launch, barring a couple glaring bugs that hopefully they get fixed before launch, than Elder Scrolls Online was at launch. I feel like as long as they keep developing the way Elder Scrolls Online did, and maybe use that sort of business model of constant content updates and constant patches, I feel like they could be as successful as something like that. If they don't do that and they don't patch out the bugs, then obviously that's another story.
I'll be honest, like, with a company that's got the budget of Amazon, I'm going purely based on this guy's video, right? I have not played the game. I have not really watched other streamers playing the game. I've seen a little bit of the content. I saw Asmongold mess around a little bit. And I've seen some streamers, like, I've watched it a bit. For the fact that, like, should have, like, one of the best development teams in the world with decades of experience, with the budget that they should have, I'm not blown away. Like, I would expect it to have just top-notch everything. But it feels like, from what I hear, the crafting is really good, and everything else is kind of like, oh, we don't talk about that. But the crafting, though, is really good. But, like, what about the questing? What about the dungeons and the PvE and all? The crafting, though. What do you mean decades of experience? What do you mean? What games they got? No, I mean like, as in individual developers, like the team that they would have created, right? Like, I imagine, I haven't looked into the history of the developers that they have, but I'd imagine the actual, like, the game lead, stuff like that. I really do think it's so hard with MMOs, because I think that Rich Campbell, I've been watching I hate to kind of give an opinion and then quote somebody else, because then it feels like I'm just copying their opinion, but, like, I very much have felt this way. And actually, CC Lemon in chat, John, he can probably attest to this and probably vouch for me, but I've been saying, like, I don't think that these AAA studios, these big multi-billion-dollar companies, Ron, thank you for the follow, dude, or Ron, GG, thank you. I don't think these billion-dollar companies with their, like, hundreds of employees are the answers to making great games, and particularly great MMOs. I don't think those are the companies to do it. I think indie devs, smaller teams, I think these 12 dudes in a basement, or like, you know, just 20 person, 30 person teams, like these smaller can all fit in one room, can shout ideas across the room. Like those types of companies, I think, are gonna be making ultimately better games. They're gonna be less profitable games, but I think ultimately they're gonna be games for game's sake. They're gonna be for the gamer, by the gamer. I think AAA studios, these big companies, they're making games because they want to make money. They go, oh, microtransactions and, like, you know, box sales and whatever. We can ship this game in this current state. We can make it quite a few million and then whatever, you know. But at the same time, I feel like an MMO takes 4, 5, 6 years to make. And if you don't have the budget, you can't make a game for 4 or 5 years without the budget. I am a little bit worried about Ashes of Creation. I think they're promising too much and they're going to underdeliver. I feel like say less, give more, right? Don't promise too much. Let the game release. And people go, oh my god, this game is so much more than I was expecting. Don't say, hey, we're going to have this, and this. And then it releases and you go, oh yeah, that system actually kind of didn't really go to plan because like it was a lot to undertake, and like, oh, and then we have to like give up here, and then like we have to focus in on this because we were releasing soon, and you're gonna under deliver. New World, I don't know, we'll see.
Pending a couple major bugs, I do feel like they really could get there in a year or two. So where does that leave you in terms of, okay, well,
no,
should I play
Sensei,
this
I don't.
game at launch? Should I wait?
I'm interested though.
We're gonna put up a video at launch when we play at launch of, you know, has what's changed? Did they fix these things? Is it any better? I would say wait for that video and find out if that's, you know, if they've done anything to that, and if they have, then maybe make a decision at that point. But I can tell you, if you don't get the game at launch, I would say you're probably gonna want to, you know, at least peek your head back in about 6 months to a year and see what the game looks like, because I can almost guarantee you this game is going to be even better then. So what do you guys think? Looking at the...
Yeah, so what am I thinking about that game? It looks okay. I don't know that it's me cup of tea. I like the idea of the crafting. I think it's definitely worth checking out.